What's up, beautiful people? Karibuni sana to yet another episode. I've missed you guys. I don't know about you. We've missed you. Last week we were not around. Karibuni to another episode of the Practical Minds podcast, where it's a place where we live, we laugh, and we learn together. How are you, Dee? How are you doing?
Me is good. Me is just cruising through life. Yeah.
How was last week?
Last week was amazing, but we've missed the audience. I hope yes, this one to miss.
Of course, they have missed us. Yeah. You know, like we were receiving really good comments from
good comments.
Yes, from the very first episode, and it being our first episode of season 2.
Yeah,
I know we are going to have a blast. We're going to have an amazing time in this season. And so karibuni sana to yet another episode of the Practical Minds podcast. And this is a question that I find asking myself often. And before we continue, our dear Marvin is not here with us. Yeah, he's a little bit under the weather. So bear with us.
The next episode he'll be here.
He'll definitely be here.
Yeah.
Yes. Tulimwambia ende atugatharie data huko nje.
Yeah. Atupe logistics na statistics kidogo.
Exactly. Yeah. But in his absence, we are here representing you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, from the 254 and from all over the world. So as I was saying, it is something I've been really asking myself personally.
Yeah.
Yes, who am I? You know? And is this the ideal version of who I want to be? What has made me to be who I am?
Yeah.
And will changing myself make me a better person, or will it limit my potential as a human being?
Okay.
And you know, in psychology, we deal with acting or dealing with the human mind.
Yes.
And we prioritize the human being over everything else, over the society, over norms, you know. So I will start by asking you this question, Dee. Who do you think you are? You know, people ask you, and it seems rude when you're having an argument with somebody,
and then wanarusha hiyo swali hapo katika.
Ati, who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? When unafikiria wewe ni nani?
Okay, personally, I'm a peaceful person. I've never found myself like getting to such a heightened argument, and then somebody asks me that question. But
who do you think you are?
Yeah, but I know most of our audience.
Yeah.
You've been asked this question severally. So I'll start by asking you, who do you think you are?
You know, I'll answer that question in reference to a podcast I had of a very beautiful and famous lady called Judy Nyawera, the spouse to Mkurugenzi, B. Mkurugenzi.
Yeah.
She was saying, oftenly when we are asked who we are, we tend to narrow down to the titles we hold. I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a pilot, or I'm an engineer or whatever. Yeah. But you've not really answered the question of who are you? You've passed that question to me. Who am I? Well, I'd say I'm a what? I'm trying to look for the starting pointer. I'm a beautiful lady.
Yes.
I'm a soft-hearted young lady. I'm very ambitious. I'm caring. I'm kind. I'm a very a goal-oriented person. If I choose, if I make a decision of I want to do this, I have made that decision, and that's it. And then, what else would I say I am? Very friendly, very sociable, very bubbly, very energetic, very enthusiastic. And also, I'm someone who feels things to the core, to the depth. I don't want superficial things that are just on the surface. I want something that goes deeper, whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships in all dynamics, whether family or romantic partners or that. And what else did I say? I'm a spiritual young woman. I believe I have a connection to my God. So that is what I'd say I am. Yes, and I'm very Yes, I've said all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you can write a PDF about yourself.
Yes.
At that point, you said so many things. I think I would have stopped at number 3. On defining.
People find it so hard to say good things about themselves. They always expect it to come from someone else. By the way, Cynthia, you're a very nice person. You're a very kind person. Let it always come from you.
Kwanza, like people like me who have imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is where you feel like you are not really who you think you are. You know, you might have done really big things in your life, but you don't really see them as an achievement. That's what we call imposter syndrome. And people like us, ni watu uta compliment and they'll be like, really? Do you think I'm like
smart?
And I think I'm like that most of the time, but really like having you express yourself and know who you are and being very bold about it, I think that's something that is really, really good. So, and I'll personally say I'm a very ambitious girl. Sometimes I act on impulse. Where when I feel like doing something, that's when I'll do it. If I don't feel like doing something, I'm not going to. No matter how urgent you feel it is. I don't do it.
You won't do it.
I'm somebody who really hates confronting people. Yes, and I think that one now is a disadvantage because you'll never know when I'm angry with you. One day I'll just burst out and it will be just a whole big problem, you know. And I was asking myself, are there things or aspects about you that you do not love or you do not like?
There are. And they tend to make me feel like they nullify the good side of me. You know, they discredit the whole thing I've said right now. I'm caring, I'm loving, I'm all that. I'll narrow down to one specific. I struggle with temper. I'm a very hot-tempered person and I easily get angry, even though it's just for a few minutes and then I forget. That's one thing I struggle with. The fact that nitakasirika, nipate maybe nimesema kitu or I've done something and then after I'm relaxed, I'll be like, why did I even do that? It was not so much of a big deal. It wasn't even such a big issue. So mostly when people are struggling with something, there's a part of our brain we call the negative bias that only concentrates on the negative aspects. No wonder any other time you'll notice when maybe you're creating content, people will be interested with the juicy part. So and so had a breakup. Walikosana because of this and this and this. But when we're talking about good things, people rarely show interest, you see. So for me, that is one thing that I struggle with. And, you know, the brain will always focus on the negative. That part we call the negative bias is that part of the brain that only focuses on the negative. So that's the only part whereby every other time I tell myself I'm struggling with bad temper, it makes me feel like I'm a bad person, makes me feel like I'm a horrible person, makes me feel like I'm a monster, and just discredits or nullifies this beautiful part of me, the caring part, the loving part, and all that.
And do you feel you would be better or you'll be a better human being if you changed the negative aspects of you? Because I feel like some of our audiences, or maybe a majority of us, we struggle with that. We struggle with that dilemma. I can call it a dilemma. Where you are like, have you ever experienced or have you ever encountered somebody who has a really, really like something, or they portray a personality that you really don't like? Maybe they are too hot-tempered, like for example you, or maybe they which is another negative trait, like maybe they
manipulative, maybe?
They are very manipulative, they are very narcissistic, malicious, you know. And unasikia tu mtu anasema but si mimi nakwanga hivyo, you know.
Mimi nilifanya akanom mimi nakwanga hivyo. Mujam kwanga hivyo.
Mimi nilizaliwa hivyo and there's nothing I can do about it. So I always ask myself, would you feel better if you changed those negative sides or aspects of you, or is changing going to make you a better person? No, will you feel better if you change them, or are you embracing your true self when you are experiencing or when you are portraying those bad traits of yours?
Honestly, I feel I'd be a better person if I worked on that one thing that I struggle with, because it weighs so heavily on me, the fact that I struggle with, you know, being angry and all that. Because at times I'd be very impulsive. I'll get angry on very minute issues because I think I'm a sensitive person. I'm sensitive to energies around me, and that is why I have to be very careful with the energies that I'm interacting with, because they trigger that part, and I really don't like it. So I feel I'd be a better person if I worked on that. But let me hear your views on your own side. What's that one part of you that you feel, if I would change this, I'd be a better person?
Personally, I've told you I'm not reactive, you know.
Okay.
I'm not a reactive person. I'm not this person who would, like, we have an argument and then I take it forward.
Yeah.
Like, hata mimi nipandishe gauge yangu.
Exactly.
Like, ukipanda gauge hata
mimi napanda. Tufikishane kwenye tutaenda.
Like, I'm not those kinds of people.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's childhood trauma or what, because my parents, when I was a bit younger, they would really shout and they would really disregard your feelings and opinions.
So you'd shrink
and
suppress your own emotions.
Exactly. From a very young age, I would suppress my emotions. Our household was tough, military style. Like, ukisema, Dad, I'm not feeling like doing A, B, C, D. I'm not feeling like eating githeri. And then they'll just ask you, who do you think you are? Hawatakwambia hivyo directly, but they're like, boss, you have no choice.
Utakula.
You just got no choice, you know.
Too.
And then I think I grew up in a very, very strict primary school. Yani ilikuwa military style.
Yeah.
Yani the teacher is always right. Wewe unge question tu mwalimu hivi, it was bad.
War.
It was war.
So we can say maybe this is like a trauma response for you.
Yes.
That every other time you feel like mtu confront with an argument, you'll shrink and then suppress your emotions so you wouldn't express or like gauge them. Akipanda pia we, like, you know, unapanda.
And you know, I remember a specific incident when we were in class 8.
Yeah.
Those days when corporal punishment was a thing. Yeah. Nowadays it's illegal.
It's illegal, yeah.
I'm telling you, class 8, yani whether you have failed or whether you have passed, tulikuwa tunapelekwa place inaitwa library. You know, library for us, it was not a learning place.
Yeah.
In fact, I think from high school, from primary, I've never even liked going to libraries. I wonder what wenda kufanya nini huko. Because like the first narrative I saw, si tulikuwa tuenda kuchapiwa library. Yani after every exam,
places,
yes,
library.
And we will have 15 teachers wote wamejiplace tu mahali tu kwa hizo ma shelves, you know, nini library vile inakuanga.
Exactly,
na kila mwalimu angekupiga ile style anataka.
Mastingo deadly.
Yes, they were telling us they are beating performance out of us. And by the way, we really passed. They would beat us. Yani ukiwa class 8, viboko tu zoe.
So kiboko ilisaidia. At some point ilisaidia.
So, and I'm asking this question, you know, like not being reactive, you know, throughout all those stages of my life.
Yeah.
I've been brought up to be a person who is not reactive at all. And then unfortunately I became a victim of a family where there was a lot of domestic violence.
Yeah.
So among my parents, and you find that when I create some fear, me says I can't insult like any man because I feel like they will beat me anytime. Yeah. So this positive trait of me not being reactive, it is taken by the society as positive. Yeah. But in me, like, I feel like I would want to be more expressive. I would want to show out my anger even more. That's why I was asking, is it something, as in these traits that we call them bad, will you be better if you had them, or will you be better if you change them? So personally, I feel like there are some traits that act as, you know, we call them defense mechanism, like when you find yourself you have very bad anger issues and all that,
or maybe you're projecting on someone else.
Yes, we call them defense mechanisms. And I feel like to some extent they are not totally bad because they help us to overcome most of the life challenges. Because when you are, you know, when you are in an environment where you are being abused or where your rights are not being fully, you know, catered for and all that, you really need some of those traits like anger, you know, expressing yourself, speaking out your mind. And so personally, I feel like there are some traits of that we regard as negative
or weaknesses. We term them as weaknesses.
Yes, there are some traits we term them as weaknesses, but in real sense, they help us to some extent. Yes, but I also believe, like what you've said, if it makes you feel bad, if after you've done whatever you've done, it makes you feel like you
question the validity of your like these other good characters and emotions.
If it is affecting who you are, if it is affecting your relationship with the people around you, I think now that's where we can talk of changing,
exactly,
or looking at it from a different perspective. So what are those, by the way, because I've given my own story, what are those negative traits that you have in you that you feel they have a sort of history, and what will you do about them? Will you want to change that about you, or will you want to, live with it or stick to it?
You remember in the last episode, I talked of how the childhood upbringing is very important. Mine also goes back to childhood traumas. I had a very tough mother, very conserved mother, very strict. When I say strict, I mean strict, not kidogo kidogo. So, and she was more of the aggressive type. So I think growing up, I learned from her that any other time that you're angry, your response should be aggression. So if I do not portray the aggression, my anger is not expressed, and it's so hard when you're angry for you to explain yourself so calmly, like we're having this conversation with you right now. And it all goes down to, what did you learn? The nature thing. What did you learn as you were growing up? For me, it was the aggression. I have to show that I am angry. By then, nimejam. Nasi ati nataka kuwaka kama dragon, and that's one thing I feel like I do not really like about myself. I just want that time that I'll achieve being calm even when I'm angry, and still have the space to express my anger and be like, Cynthia, you did this and this to me, and this is how it made me feel. I don't have to burst out in anger and come out with insults or maybe try to hit you with something. I think that would be a big achievement for me.
Wow.
Yeah, you see, I'm focusing on one thing because that's one thing that I've always struggled with. Yeah,
aggression when you're angry.
When I'm angry. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening or you're watching the Practical Minds podcast. It's a place where we live, we laugh, and we learn together.
Yeah.
So, about this I am concept. And we always hear it with so many, life coaches and motivational speakers talking about your true self. You have to live in your true self. You have to identify who you are. You have to be able to thrive in the true self and in the true sense of who you are.
Exactly.
You are authentic. They call it the authentic,
self.
Yes, what is that whole concept we call the authentic self, and how do we achieve it, as human beings?
Before I even contribute to what you were asking, I would like to share this. I have noticed, from my own personal experience, every other time that you allow yourself to be who you are from within, things just align. You find friends that match your energy. You find partners that match what you want. You relate with family members that know you for who you are and accept you for who you are. Most people, I feel, even look at the circle of your friends. Most people, I feel, have this fake, let me quote unquote, a fake kind of character, because they do not want to bring out the real selves, because they're like, if I bring out the real Zahara, people might, not want to be friends with me. People might find me too conserved. People might find me a kafala or something. But once you allow yourself to be the true self, there's a certain happiness and calmness that comes from within. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed that, Cynthia. Have you ever decided by there, I'm just letting free. I'm deciding myself. I'm letting myself be who I think I am.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that space?
For me, I personally believe, this whole nature concept.
Yeah.
Where it is a concept that talks about the human being and what makes us human, and what makes us who we are. It is a combination of nature, that is the genes, the
your
genetic combination, and the nature part of it is our environment, and how we were brought up and who brought us up,
our caregivers and all that.
Exactly, and even our peers to some extent.
Yeah,
and I feel like like you've said, when we are trying to really develop our true concept of who exactly we are, the environment part of our life, that is our society, the people who have brought us up, our peers around us, they have to some extent obstructed, the nature of true self. Maybe you were
and also social norms. The
social norms, like when you are, if your true self, like for example for ladies, is you feel like you are more expressive or you are more comfortable in your own skin when you are loud. But then when you come back to the society, the society tells you, no, you can't be loud. You have to be cutesy. You have to be mindful. Demure. I've not even learned how to pronounce that.
Hey, ite to demure.
You're demure. You have to be demure in your, in all you do. So I feel like the environment part of where we came from, who brought us up, like we were saying about the negative traits and how they came to be. So I feel like our environment really hinders our self-concept. And I feel like the solution to being able to unveil our true self,
I love the fact that you're giving us solutions. This is the Practical Minds podcast where we come with the real solutions, real life solutions.
Exactly, practical solutions. And I feel like the solution to this is to really do something we call a lot of introspection. That is really looking into your life.
Exactly.
Who do you really think you are? And in terms of your capabilities and your potential, how far do I think I can go? How far are you willing to stretch your mindset, your mind power? But there's something really interesting about the mind. Ulikuwa unasikia hii kitu, especially I think in high school. Like, even when we were growing up, so you will be shown somebody who is psychotic in your home or in your home area, and you are told, "Uyu ni jua alisoma sana." That is why kichwa like
I've had it. I even remember telling my dad, me I'd like to go to my PhD. Akaniambia, "Hey, uoni kama utakuwa mwenda wazimu."
But it's not true. Because the mind is very elastic. The human mind, especially the human mind, has been created in such a way that it is so elastic. Yani, the more you stretch it, the more capacity it holds.
There was even somewhere nilisoma if you notice ukikawia for a long period without kusoma, like the normal academic thing, your brain will shrink.
It's true.
And I was like, okay, so content inafanya like the brain inakuwa like inakuwa kubwa.
And I'll take you back to high school. I know you were in a boarding school. And especially Form 4, ile time, yani you used to read a lot. Your time, after you could even see 2030 kwenye unataka kuwa.
I know.
I remember I had a small diary. Nilikuwa nimeandika mpaka 2070 where I want to be.
2070 Cynthia?
In 2070, I was that crazy. I'll show you. So the human mind is born or is created to be very elastic. And I feel like the more we sit down with ourselves, and do a lot of introspection. Introspection is you kujiangalia na ndani. Vitu zenye nimepitia.
You call it a meeting, like a self meeting.
Exactly. In layman's language, you call yourself a meeting. You ask yourself, what have I been through as Diana?
Exactly.
How has it made me to be like? And like right now, nowadays, the world is as in we've gone through so many problems such that we don't quiet our mind and decide to search deep within our minds.
Exactly.
Like mtu akiamka tu hivi, you are too stressed out, you don't want to think about what is stressing you. Unaeka mangoma inafika uko volume 110 because
my neighbors na home theater.
Yes, na utaka hivyo the whole day. Then ukishamaliza kujitayarisha, I'm talking of an ideal day of an average person who is troubled. And then ukishajitayarisha home, si umeweka hiyo volume yako 100 and then umeweka ka Bluetooth tu hapa. You're just listening. As in every time there is a voice in your mind.
For that, I would like to say this, Cynthia.
Yes.
I have noticed, and I'm using the circle of friends that I have. I've noticed many people do not love, do not like silence and staying on their own. You see, like let's assume this room, I'm on my own, there's no music, no nothing, it's just me and my thoughts. Many people are scared of the thoughts they have when they're in a silent room.
Very
so
true.
I think it all narrows down to you mastering the courage of sitting somewhere on your own. But there are people who have never been on their own. It's either wako sherehe, if not sherehe, ako somewhere na beshte yake wanapiga story, but never had a moment to sit down and hata usiguze simu yako, leave alone the TikTok thing, the Instagram thing. Just sit somewhere on your own, quiet. Just listen to what's going on in your head. Listen to every aspect of you, your heart, your soul, your mind. And I feel like the mind is the most powerful aspect of the human.
Very
not
true.
Even the heart,
it's
not
true.
Even the body. I feel it's the mind. And I feel we have some sort of power towards our mind, that you can tune it to whatever direction you want it to go. You want it to be positive, I can. You want it to be negative, it's very simple. You can still tune it to that that direction. But now the problem is people do not focus on that power. They just focus on the fear of, I am scared of my thoughts. I do not want to hear what the inner me is telling me. The introspection thing that you're saying, many people have not taken time to introspect, like to have that meeting with themselves and listen to those thoughts that they really fear. Listen to that heartbreak that you once went through. Listen to that one time ulijikosea, because hata wewe unajikosea. Nilijikosea when I did this and this. You just want to sweep things under the carpet, which never really works.
And when you were just talking, I was asking myself, why would somebody not want to listen to their thoughts? And the only thing that has come into my mind is could be probably a lot of trauma based on past events that we have not wanted to face or deal with. So it leaves us very bitter. And instead of us feeling bitter or feeling shameful because of whatever happened to us or whatever we found ourselves in, we tend to put it in the subconscious part of our mind. Where we just want to forget it. But in real sense, you never forget it. Those things that you put, like mambo nasemanga, ninataka kusahau hii kitu. It goes to the subconscious part of your mind. And that part we inajaa.
Inakuwa kama chupo kieka maji. Inaenda tu inajaa.
It fills up. Na we ina manifest in form of suicidal thoughts. If you find yourself you're experiencing suicidal thoughts and lethargy is when you feel very, very tired. Yes, you don't want to do anything. You just feel like life is too much. Every day unaamka, yani umetoka kuamka umelala 10 hours but you're very tired.
But you're still tired.
Depressive thoughts, anxiety. Those are the many signs that subconscious mind yako imeja so many things that you've always wanted to forget. But the solution is, like we have said, introspection. Try to search. Sit down, be brave enough to look at what are these things that have made me to be who I am. And how can I be able to solve them one at a time? Is it childhood traumas? Of which for most Africans it is.
It is childhood trauma. Childhood trauma.
Is it terrible heartbreaks that we've gone through? Is it terrible life situations that we have experienced throughout our life stages? So with a lot of introspection, we will even know where to even seek therapy.
Exactly. And there was a podcaster who was saying, you will find peace once you bring what is in the subconscious mind to the conscious mind.
Very true.
Many people have not noticed that most of the issues you're struggling with is ziko hapo kwa subconscious mind. They feel like, as long as I'm okay, nenda sherehe, I'm going for my classes, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But there's something you're not working on, and that is where you're not having that peace that you would like to have inside of you. Bring the whatever is in the subconscious mind to your conscious mind. Then from there you'll realize, kumbe I struggle with finding a partner, or I struggle with friendships, or I struggle with many other personal issues. And like you said, most people are scared of their thoughts because of the issues they've had to go through in the past. I'll give myself as an example. Last year, grief is a journey. I'm still on the journey of grief and loss. I lost one of my family members. I wouldn't want to say who it was. And there was this time I would get scared of going back to the pictures of how I used to see her sick and wearing off every other day. And so one day I just sat down and told myself, I'm no longer going to fear those images. I want them to come. Let me see let me see those images of her during her last moments. Let me see how she struggled. I will not fear them anymore, because the more I'm fearing them, the more the whole grief and loss thing was becoming more of a burdening for me. So I sat down. I'd sit down at some point, even with my friends. I'm not touching my phone. They're on their phones doing the TikTok thing, Instagram thing. And they would ask me, you never feel uncomfortable just sitting down with your thoughts? And I told them, I chose not to be anymore. I want to sit down and feel that pain. I want to sit down and see those images of that event that took place and broke me into pieces. I want to see, did I do anything to help or to change the situation to a better direction? So that is the direction that I chose to take.
Wow.
Sit down with those images and sit down with your thoughts. Don't run away from them. I know they can be scary, and not everybody may be as courageous as I chose to be. But like I said, there's some power to your mind. Yes, take control of that power. The mind is the most powerful aspect of the human.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that you are really, really insisting on the mind. And
the mind.
I love what Oprah Winfrey says
Yeah.
in her submissions and speeches that she has submitted all over the world.
Yes.
And she says that once you conquer your mind, your true self, once you know who you really are, there is no barrier you cannot break.
Very true. Very true. Very
in this world, there is nothing you cannot be able to achieve.
Nothing.
When you fully identify who you are and what is your purpose and what were you, or what are you here to do, or what are those strengths that the universe or God has given you, so that you can be able to live a more fulfilling life. And so, to our audiences who are listening, maybe somebody has been listening to us throughout the podcast and they're asking themselves, I want to be my true self. They're at that point where they really want to change. They really feel like they want to change because they don't feel productive. They don't feel as if they are making moves in their lives.
They don't feel like their souls are satisfied.
Exactly. What will you tell that one person who wants to achieve the ideal sense of self, the ideal sense of who they are?
I'll use myself as an example. Dare to be yourself. I know it can be scary, but it can really be scary because there's so much noise outside. The world telling you, be this, be that. I'll give an example with models, supermodels. Even from the song, featuring Beyonce, Pretty Hearts. There's a certain way models are supposed to be according to the industry, modeling and all that. You're supposed to be this petite, you're supposed to be that. If you love modeling and you do not maybe have that kind of body that maybe the industry is asking for, please dare to still be that model. Walk in that how do they call it, the runway. Walk in that runway with your body and accept yourself for who you are. You don't have to subject yourself to what the norms out there are saying, that you have to look a certain way, you have to behave a certain way. Just be who you are, and trust me, people who are meant to be or to accept you for who you are will just come along your path. But every other time that you suppress who you are, you'll always meet people that they really don't match your energy. And that is why most people, if you ask them, they do not feel like they are happy in the circle of friends that they have, or even some of the family members that we have, because we do have family members who make us feel like we are not allowed to be who we want to be. I'm that loud person. If you make me you make me feel bad, I'll come out, leap forward to you and tell you, by the way, Cynthia, I was not happy with this, what you did. There are people who will call it kiburi. There are people who will call it manga, madarao. But still, I'll tell you, dare to be yourself. First of all, you can't be yourself without knowing who you are. So you just have to introspect. Have that self-meeting with yourself and get to know, who am I? What do I stand for? What don't I like? What do I like? And do not feel ashamed of what you like or what you do not like. Allow yourself to be who you are. Dare. I know it is scary, but it is very scary. But still, at the end of the day, without fear, we can never have courage.
I agree. I totally agree. And while you were talking, I was remembering about a young lady who posted something, and she was saying, when I was depressed, when I was in a bad marriage, when I had made the worst decision, people called me a virtuous woman.
Yes.
And people told me that I'm in the right place.
Yes.
But when I decided to get out of everything toxic in my life, when I decided I want something better for myself, they called me proud. They called me arrogant.
Exactly.
And they called me evil. So every time, this one goes to show that every time you try to unveil your true self, the people we always, or the society we always reject you because it's something that they are not used to. And I will also echo the words of one famous speaker called Joel Austin, and he said that we are like a puzzle. If we all knew exactly who we are and what we are called here to do, we would never compete with anyone, because you are a piece of puzzle that can never fit
into another puzzle.
Very
true.
And I was like, bam, that is so true.
Very true.
Like your assignment, your whatever you are called in this place to do, whatever abilities that you have been given, they are totally different from mine. Yeah.
And there was an Instagram reel. Okay, I really wish I can remember who posted it. It was an amazing one. Our audience, if I find it the next episode, hata niheri tuicheze, like nataka iyo point to get home. It was saying something like, we always dim our light because some people around us feel like it is too bright for them to handle it.
Yeah.
So they'll make you feel like, you're not supposed to be that way. Not because you're not on the right path, but you, in some way, you trigger their weaknesses. Like you come out so bold and so courageous, and then when you enter into such a room, your aura makes me feel like I'm not good enough. Why am I feeling this way? Because I've also not tapped into my energy. I've always been suppressing myself. But here is Cynthia. She's not suppressing herself. She's being herself. She's allowing herself to be the bold, courageous, or beautiful woman that she is. Yeah. So do not dim your light. Please just be who you are. I know it is scary, but dare yourself to be yourself.
Wow. That has been a wonderful discussion, ladies and gentlemen. You have been listening and watching the Practical Minds podcast. And we are wrapping it up. Can you give us your social media handles?
Yes.
Maybe you might have some crushes here and there, You never know. Some business partner who will want to cooperate with you here and there. So share with us your social media handles.
They can get me on Instagram at Zara_DK or on TikTok Zara_46. And my WhatsApp members in wale tumesaviana. I like saying that. Nimekusave, you'll see my content.
Okay.
Yeah. So talk to me, ask questions on things that we have discussed on this episode. Give us ideas on what topics you'd like us to discuss, who you'd like us to feature, because we are planning on featuring guests who are expertise on such kind of topics.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to us as we are talking to you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can find me on Cynthia Graced on all social media platforms, TikTok, IG, and I've not been active. It's your fault, D. You cannot be a social media person and I'm not.
I'm not dimming my light. I will not suppress my light.
So I really need to work hard. So you can catch me on all those social media platforms, and we will see you on Kwelib TV every Tuesday. And ciao.
Have a blessed week.
Bye.
Bye.